All right, so we were rolling into January, right? Start of 2021, and most of this stuff, is stemming from prior to late December, but this is kind of the mood, the feelings that we're in, right? We're coming off of Edge returning to WWE. He wins the Royal Rumble, right?
Yep.
Right, big story. Sting returning at the Winter is Coming, right? Just prior to that, so Sting's coming up. He's coming up in January. He's wrestling now, and the John Huber passing, right? That had happened right at smack dab into the year. They had done their tribute show. Everybody's all in the feels about that, and then that's where we're at, right? January's rolling around, no big news. But then February hits, and we've got, if you remember, Butch Reed passed away, which was a big
one.
Yeah.
Oh man, local hero. Went to the same university I did, Central Missouri. First guy eliminated in the Royal Rumble. Also part of one of my favorite tag teams with Ron Simmons, Doom and WCW. Yeah, Butch Reed.
Also in February, WWE paused promotions and pay raises for all employees, citing COVID concerns, which was nice of them. WWE.
Oh, of course, yeah. Way to go, guys.
Racking up record profits. Loves to, big news to do about that. And Big Show joined AEW.
Oh man, what a that was a crazy signing, because I think a lot of people, by going with the old way of thinking how wrestling promotions work, they thought, okay, so Big Show is going to be your TNT champion in 2 months time, and really he had one match at a Chicago show against QT Marshall. And that's it. He's just been calling matches and stuff.
So we roll into March. WWE Network moved to Peacock.
Oh.
And the removal of controversial segments ensued. Remember this whole news story.
Man. So, fun fact.
Essentially the death of the WWE
Well,
Network.
That's what I was going to say. So, we have worst moment of the year. I did not know that happened this year.
Ooh,
I might have to reconsider, because the WWE Network, prior to the move to Peacock, was outstanding, especially after they did their new UI change where you could search a wrestler. They would have all of their clips and moments and pay-per-views.
Yeah, that was great.
Fantastic. And then they just sold their soul to the devil, and now fuck them. I never go on Peacock, ever.
Well, the only thing I can think is that they saw, like, hey, pretty much everybody only watches this for the special events and the documentaries. We can sell that to somebody for the same amount of money we're making off of people and make it a lower price for them, and they get a 50 million subscribers or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they just cost-cutting measures. It was just cost-effective, and that's, capitalism, baby, right? It's all...
I don't even think it was cost-cutting. I think it was effort-cutting. I think they said,
that's it. It was like cost-benefit ratio, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. They just were tired of putting in the same amount of work, and they said, hey, can we just throw in the towel to get money to do this? And they found Peacock, and Peacock was a new streaming platform that needed as many eyes as they could get. So they got $1 billion, and now bye-bye. I don't watch it anymore.
Also in March, Shaq wrestled on AEW Dynamite.
Oh, what a cool match.
What a great match.
What a cool match. And that was also the debut of Jade Cargill. That was her first match in AEW, which we will talk about her in.
And Shaq disappeared out of an ambulance. We still don't have an answer.
Oh, we will. We will. He'll come back. But isn't it cool, full circle here, the debut of Jade Cargill in March, and then we're going to be talking about in our New Year's Smash recap, she was in the semifinals for the TBS Tournament Championship. So pretty cool.
The Shaq match was great. One of the best celebrity pro wrestling performances ever.
Yeah, say what you want about Cody, and plenty of people have, but he, I assume, being the most veteran of the four, put together that match as far as the structure, and then obviously the timing and cues and things like that. Spot on. Very well done by Cody. And obviously
Shaq
the effort from Shaq and stuff.
Shaq knew the showmanship aspect of it, the crowd interaction.
Yeah, and Shaq, credit to him too. He did a good nod to pro wrestling fans by doing the Brody Lee tribute before he does the power bomb to Cody, where he did the kiss and then the arms out. I like that. So yeah, Shaq knew his audience. He tailored his match towards that, and then obviously went through a table. He didn't have to do that. So yeah, Shaq did awesome. Cody did great. Red Velvet and Jade Cargill did awesome too. Because remember, that was gonna be Brandy Rhodes, because Brandy cut that awesome promo on open mic night, which
she
again
tried to revive last night.
Right, which tried to arrive last night, but then she got pregnant, so she couldn't do it. So Red Velvet got the opportunity.
Also in March, WWE banned leg slaps, and the news broke online. And so everybody's making fun of him for that.
Yeah. Well, look, less the better, right?
The less the better, yes.
Yeah, there's definitely moments for that, but when Brie Bella was missing a spot but still slapping her leg, that's when we knew we needed to stop this in WWE.
Well, yeah, when the heel of a shoe hits a chin, it doesn't make a slapping sound.
Slap noise. No. That's a foot. A foot does.
If it made that sound, you killed the person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I know we're supposed to suspend some disbelief for this, but you would have killed somebody. All right. Mm-hmm. Also in March, at AEW Revolution, we had the non-exploding, exploding barbed wire death match.
But here's the thing about that, because yes, as I was doing my research for event of the year and all of the other type of awards, Revolution came up. The thing that I will say is, prior to that explosion, that was going to be my moment of the year, where you had an incredible death match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. Remember, Jon Moxley pseudo kicked out of the One-Winged Angel by kicking Kenny Omega into the exploding barbed wire. And then the babyface turn of the year with Eddie Kingston fighting past the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega, and also fighting past his own guys in the Lucha Bros, I believe. Or no, it was Butcher and the Blade fighting past those guys to then cover Jon Moxley. 10 out of 10. And then you got the dud of the year that made that a laughable execution. But before that, chef's kiss. It was great. And also credit for them on how they got out of it. Remember, one of the best promos of the year, Kenny Omega and Don Callis making fun of Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. 69 me, Don. 69 me. That was the best. That was the best.
God, I forgot about 69 me, Don.
69 me, Don.
We named an episode that.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Well, because he said, like, get in the north-south, and he quickly realized Don Callis didn't know what the fuck he meant, because he's like, 69 me, Don. Like, come on, this is live, pal. We gotta fucking go.
Oh, yeah. And then Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley's promos together. Remember how Eddie Kingston started with that? They were sitting, like, in front of a fire at some kind of cool bar, and he's like, you feel the heat? You feel the heat? Oh, yeah. Great promos after that horrible moment. God. And for them to acknowledge it was also great, too. So, yeah, loved it.
Also, WWE released Andrade in March, which was kind of the first of a wave of things to come that we'll discuss throughout the rest of this year. But everybody, and we'll talk about, Andrade later coming up on his match. But this was supposed to be the, like, finally he's going to get a chance, right?
Hey, and he is, right? Like, I mean, his highlight of the year, I think, even though it might be Cody's highlight of the year, was the, flaming table spot on Dynamite. He also had some good matches with Pac and things of that nature. I don't know if he went to the heights that everyone was expecting when he got released, as, he's going to be the face of a promotion. Now, maybe down in AAA, because remember, Ric Flair came out with him when Andrade took on Kenny Omega for the AAA championship. So, who knows? But, yeah, good. He got out of there. Because what was he doing? Nothing.
Yeah, really, he wasn't. And then also, in March, Christian Cage debuts in AEW and wrestles for the first time in 7 years.
Yeah, and man, I tell you what an MVP he has been for AEW this year. I will say, though, if you recall, the anticipation of who it was going to be was a little anticlimactic, because again, it was going to be maybe Kurt Angle, maybe they're going to get someone and it was Christian. And again, Christian Cage is great.
And I think Christian was like an idea. Everybody's like, it could be Christian. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, because remember, it could have been CM Punk. That was the rumor. Remember, around that time could be CM Punk.
And then we're weird. Like, it was like, everybody was like, oh yeah, Christian would be fine, be cool, but like, we hope it's somebody cooler. And then it was like, well, it's Christian. And everybody's like, cool. But he is great. He is great.
Since then,
I've always been a fan of Christian Cage. He's always been one of my Like, I would rank him higher on my list of favorites than probably anybody else you ask for the most part, I think. Like, I've always been a big fan of his.
Yeah, I mean, his work that he's currently doing with Jurassic Express has been very good. His pseudo feud with Matt Hardy has been entertaining. His fill-in for Hangman, as Hangman in real life went to go have the birth of his child, so then he put himself in. Remember that match where he won the Impact Championship on the first episode of Rampage over Kenny Omega?
So Christian Cage, like, he wrestled on a WrestleMania, the whatever Impact's big thing is, and then like AEW as well. Like, he had, when we're discussing male wrestler of the year, I don't think I had him on the list of consideration, but like, man, he has some stats.
Yeah, he's got some stats. He did really well for himself.
Really well for himself. All right, so then we roll into April, and April brings a lot here, Tom. April. NXT moved to Tuesday nights, effectively ending the Wednesday Night Wars, which were never
that was
really
in April?
war.
Man, they've been doing it that long? I guess but they didn't go to the 2.0.
No, that comes later.
That comes later. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
No, this was just the move to Tuesday nights.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And everybody was like, well, because Dynamite was clearly winning that battle.
Every week except for one.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, all right, WrestleMania with tens of thousands of fans in attendance in a big portion of the show featuring Bad Bunny Mania.
Oh, yeah. He did well. He did well.
He did well.
You know
and he brought
a
lot of attention. Remember, he was like selling first, second, third on their merch.
Yeah. He's a very popular guy. I think what I will remember, though, from that WrestleMania is two things. One, the women main evented night one, which still is not a main event. I don't care what you say. Main event's the actual last match of the event, whether it's 2 nights or not. And then crying before it because you don't break character, but I guess you do in this instance. Whatevs, but it was emotional. And then also the rain. It was the first time that I could remember that rain actually played a part in an outdoor show.
Yeah. Well, in the Hall of Fame class for, they did 2020, but the 2021 featured Molly Holly, Eric Bischoff, the Great Khali, Kane, Rob Van Dam, William Shatner, and Ozzy Osbourne.
Neat.
Yeah. Titus O'Neil won a Warrior Award, I think. Something like that.
Can we name it after him, by the way? Fuck the Warrior. Like, no offense that I'm sorry that he died early and stuff, but he was a trash person. I think we all know that. Titus O'Neil isn't. And so let's
Titus O'Neil had a fucking middle school named after him. I didn't put that in the thing because I was just like, what are we going to say about it?
Yeah, but like, let's name the award after
the Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter that he's alive. That's totally fine. He can present it to the person. Instead of, this Warrior Award where he made anti-Semitic and anti-gay comments throughout his entire life, was a shitty pro wrestler, had a cool 2-year moment, and that's about it.
Yeah. Pretty much mainline steroids all day long.
And again, I'm very sorry to his family and all that stuff. I'm not talking about like the death is a fucking thing, but like he wasn't that great of a person. We all see it. It's all on record. Maybe stop calling an award after him. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, just wait till they have a Vince McMahon award after he passes. That'll be interesting. Mike Tyson returned to AEW Dynamite, and this performance was better than the first one. I think we kind of liked this one. This is when he shows up, he helps the Chris Jericho, and they make
no.
nice.
Okay, so this is when he made nice.
Right.
Okay, because when he was beefing with Chris Jericho, that sucked. Remember when he came out with Rashad Evans?
This one here, he comes back and helps now, and they make nice. Right?
Yeah, that's fine. I like that. That was fine. Yeah. Mike Tyson is hit and miss. This one, he was good.
All right. Then in April, WWE released Samoa Joe, the Iconics, Bo Dallas, Mickie James, Mojo Rawley, Chelsea Green, Kalisto, and more in a first wave of many releases that we'll discuss.
But in one of the rare moments, re-signed Samoa Joe not too long later.
Samoa Joe did come on back later. Yep.
Yeah, it came right back. Yeah.
Right. Yep. But these names here, I don't think these ones shocked anybody either, right? I mean, like the Samoa Joe was big, but the Iconics was a shock. I think everybody was like, we liked them. But it didn't shock us that like WWE never knew what to do with them. Bo Dallas was kind of one where we were like, that guy's still there. And then like that
Chelsea
was kind of
Green never really got a shot to do anything. And hey, credit to her, I know we're going to talk about our male and female wrestler of the year. The work she's doing alongside Matt Cardona, outstanding. And her work in Ring of Honor before Ring of Honor, shuts its doors, which we'll probably get to. And then her match that she had with Cardona against Effie and Alley Catch. I mean, fantastic. Loved it.
Right.
So credit to her. She can wrestle. Obviously, WWE doesn't know what the fuck to do. So
They don't know.
No.
Also in April, Pat McAfee joined the SmackDown commentary team.
Great. Love it. Pat
McAfee's so fun.
Pat McAfee is awesome. I like him so much. His show is good. I know right now he's kind of getting dragged through the mud because of his constant talking to Aaron Rodgers, which is kind of controversial about, misinformation, things like that. Currently, he's getting a little bit dragged. However, WWE, he's been awesome.
Also in April, WWE fired longtime talent relations director Mark Carrano following a highly publicized incident involving the personal belongings of released talent. Remember, he fucking sent Mickie James stuff back in a trash bag, and apparently he'd done this quite a bit. And then his girlfriend comes out and is like, he's stealing shit from the company and has it stored under his mattress like a dork. I think I always got weird, creepy vibes from that guy. And mostly when my wife would watch Total Divas. He was on there a lot, more so than I ever saw him on any other WWE programming, of course. And I was like, this guy seems like a fucking sleazeball. And I, I'd heard about him in the news, and then to see him there, I was like, this guy seems like a fucking like a bastard, right? Like you're just kind of I don't know that I'd like this guy. And then all this comes out and turns out I was like, oh yeah, he was.
1,000,000%. Yeah,
But the thing is, like with WWE, see, they don't fire that guy when it comes clear he's a bastard. They fire that guy when the public catches wind of him being
you
a bastard.
find out he's a bastard because he's a good yes man, right? Because maybe they actually like that people are getting sent their stuff in a bag, but it's not them who's doing it. So then when it comes out, well, hey, we have a fall guy, this dork who, is cross-eyed, knuckle-dragging idiot over here. Get him out of the way. But it's, right. I don't think that was an original idea is what I'm saying. So,
All right. 1/3 of the year through, right? We made it through April. A lot of stuff's happening in 2021, right?
Yeah, well, because at this time, this is when we're getting out of the pandemic era shows and more crowds are starting to show. Yeah, so this is when we're starting to,
which is controversial of itself, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Another thing I thought about, I'll never say this guy's name pretty much here in any news story, but I started to name 2021 the year of Nick Khan. A lot of this guy's decisions are changing the landscape of professional wrestling.
And you know what? This isn't the first industry where you could say that. If you go over to ESPN, when he was the agent for all those CAA guys, they were also dictating the agenda and platform and shows over at ESPN. So this is what he does.
I've read stories that we talk about WWE being for sale or whatever, or things that this is the kind of guy who if he may take over as the guy running WWE. And his name was never around until this fucking year, I think. What?
Yeah, it felt like
it's
it.
So weird. Remember, and then it's so weird because there's also Tony Khan. So then it's wait a minute, what the hell is Khan, the most prominent name in wrestling in a matter of 2 years out of nowhere?
Yeah. But remember, we talked about this because, I've been familiar with who this guy is because he represented one of my favorite journalists, Ariel Helwani, when Ariel was working for CAA. He represented Michelle Beadle, Stephen A. Smith. I mean, he represented a lot of the big talking heads in the sports media industry. And it's interesting to see that once he left and came over to WWE, those talking heads also left ESPN, right? Michelle Beadle's no longer there. Ariel Helwani's no longer there. Stephen A. is, and it's kind of taken over, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, this is what he does. He's pragmatic. I don't know if he's necessarily heartless. I just think he said, hey, the strategy of signing everyone just so that they stay away from that company is kind of silly. So let's stop that. And these are the people who we don't see a future in. And whether that's right or wrong, which turns out a lot of them kind of wrong, but he doesn't know the wrestling industry. That's his decision, And so they'll learn maybe, or they'll go out of business, which I wouldn't hate either way.
Well, they're still in business. And in May this year, non-WWE related story here, New Jack passed away.
That one hurt.
Yeah.
He wasn't the greatest guy. Again, I wouldn't name a humanitarian award after him.
Right.
However, some of my, best moments from being a teenager, preteen, that 13 to 16 age, was New Jack coming down with a shopping cart, throwing all types of things at, the Dudleys or Sandman or whoever it was. and just causing a ruckus. And so like that'll be
and the
missed,
Natural Born Killers theme song just made you feel
that's what I'm saying.
That song alone made you want to be somebody like New Jack.
Yeah, he was
Play
great.
that song and be like, I'll go in and rob this bank. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. I'll do it.
I like that you mentioned robbing a bank, because that person may come up later in one of our
he's
awards.
coming up. He's coming up in our stories here as well. Also in May, John Cena apologized to China for calling Taiwan a country.
What a bitch move.
Yeah.
And this is where, look, I get it. We all want to have equal rights across the country, but you got to be consistent. You can't say, his campaign, love is love, and you got to accept the people who are not looking like you or acting like you in this world, which is 100% true, but then go, well, but China said that, and so like maybe they're right. I don't know, maybe. It's like, no, they're not right. You're just doing it because there's a huge financial hit if you continue down this course. So like that wasn't a great look.
Yep. No more movies being allowed to be released that you're in China. So now no more movies for John Cena. No more, ad campaigns because they can't air this commercial in China because it's your voice. You can't advertise for the latest Honda or fucking pistachios or whatever.
Right.
Sorry, China. Yeah. Hey, look, everybody's allowed to make their financial decisions and do what, make their decisions in life based on whatever they want. But yeah, I think unilaterally, even the people that like are in John Cena's boat, which aren't a lot of people, right? The LeBrons of the world, you know what I mean? Understand it to be like, oh shit, that's an emasculating act, just not even emasculating. I don't even if a woman had to do it, like it's a demoralizing.
Yeah, it's very much so. I mean, yeah, we could do a whole podcast about that, because again, the Winter Olympics is going to China, and currently the whereabouts and well-being of a tennis player from China who spoke out about one of their officials is in question, but we're still doing the games.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
That because the money can't stop. That's what it is. Money can't stop.
That's why the CDC recommends you only quarantining for 5 fucking days. Anyway.
Well, that actually has some news. I can send you some things on that.
Okay. All right.
The 5 days things I know, but also there's some new there. We'll take that off the line.
In May, WWE released Velveteen Dream, Tom Phillips, and referee Drake Wirtz.
Velveteen Dream. Yeah, Velveteen Dream. Man.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that guy once he left. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Is anyone talking about him?
No. Nope. Well, and then the Drake Wirtz thing. Remember, so he's making news because he's making crazy videos. I'm going to say crazy videos about mask and vax mandates in his WWE NXT embroidered shirt. And that's what kind of finally they were like, hey, look, man, you got to go.
Worth the trouble.
You got to be out of here. And good night, that guy. At least he's also gone from the news cycle now. For now.
Yeah, well, somewhat. I mean, he still tries to pop up every so often. However, I mean, I don't want to go down a slippery slope here because, again, you're not always who you're associated with. However, 2 of his closest friends from all social media posts were Bayley and Sasha Banks. And Sasha Banks made some news because she couldn't wrestle because of some things.
One of the Viking Raider Warrior guys, whatever, they're a
really?
Well. Yeah.
Oh.
They're all like, Americans unite against the steel and that kind of shit.
Yeah, man, cool. Yeah, cool story. Hey, let's do this.
Is it cool? Is it a cool story?
Hey, get this over. Well, let's get this over. Let's have some guy play guitar and I'll just pound my chest. That'll get people to like me. Great creative. Great job.
Also in May, WWE released Adnan Virk and replaced him with Jeremy Smith on the Raw commentary team.
Yeah, Adnan. Look, I like Adnan. He does a cinephile show where if you're a movie buff, I would say listen to it because he does a great breakdown of it. He also knows his baseball better than anyone else. He was not suited for Monday Night Raw.
And Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith. Jimmy
He's
Smith's
great.
awesome. And I can't wait because, WWE has this long history of a wrestler bumps into the commentary guy, and if, the commentary guy has a match with said wrestler, Jimmy Smith knows his fucking shit. He'll beat some ass. And so, yeah, oh God, yeah. He fought. He fought MMA, and he can fuck you up.
Also in May, Mark Henry signed with All Elite Wrestling.
Another great signing because, again, I think we thought it was going to be he becomes a active wrestler.
His interviews of the main event fighters.
Yeah, he couldn't do, and no offense to him, maybe he can in the future, but he couldn't do the commentary. He was a little bit lost, a little bit slow on the comments and finding his footing.
Well, he's just so in the moment, and you have to be thinking ahead when you're in commentary.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have to be a step ahead of yourself. What you're saying has to be like what you already thought about and on to the next thing.
Right.
You know this well. But Mark Henry's so in the moment with everything, which is a great characteristic to have, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't work well for live read, right?
Yeah, but it's time for the main event.
That is so good because sometimes I won't watch the people and I'll watch his face because you can tell he's like, they're going to fight. He's just so excited. His eyebrows raise. He's like licking his lips. And then he's like, well, it's time. Like, he's so excited. It's so honest and so pure. I love it.
I hope in the future, 2022, again, if we went back a week and did a Christmas wish list and add one more wish, I hope that maybe they could work that in for the next, Hangman versus Kenny Omega pay-per-view match, work him in to say, it's time for the main event, because it needs to be on a bigger platform than just Rampage.
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind that on Dynamite. Like, it gives you a big fight feel.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Yeah, it really does. It's great.
All right, rolling into June 2021 in our year in review. By the way, join the chat. If you're watching live, feel free to use hashtag #TweetTheTable on Twitter to chime in with some of your favorite moments of 2021. We'll read those on the next episode. WWE released Braun Strowman, Lana, Aleister Black, Ruby Riott, Buddy Murphy, Santana Garrett, Killian Dane, Bollywood Boys, Fandango, Tyler Breeze, Everrise, Tony Nese, and more in one of the big shocking release sweeps of the year. Like, this was a lot of names. Braun Strowman, Lana, Aleister Black, Ruby Riott.
But you know who honestly, of that round of releases, is probably now one of my favorites in AEW? No, 2.0. Everrise.
Oh, 2.0.
2.0
right.
is great. You want a taste? Huh? You want a taste?
They're so fun.
They're such great asshole heels. I hate them. And I love that I hate them.
And you're right. I need a bing bong out of them.
Yeah, a bing bong. Yeah, just fuck your life. If they could just do that in a pay-per-view just one time. I know they can't cuss and all that stuff, but just work it in and they can censor it later. But yeah, 2.0, because when they were Everrise in NXT, didn't over my head. I didn't give a shit about them.
Right.
They come over here and their work with Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, adopting Daniel Garcia as their son, all the fun promo stuff.
They're prominent on the shows. They're on Elevation. They're on Dark.
Good.
They're on
so
Dynamite.
Good.
Also in June, GCW worked the town when police were called to the GCW Outlaw Mud Show in Laramie. And this event was fun, right? The barn. Fuck that horse.
The shout out. Hey, personal.
We got a shout out on the show.
Personal shout out. Spanish Announce Table. If you go back and watch that pay-per-view, friend of the show, Kevin Gill, shouted out Spanish Announce Table. So, hey, that was a personal highlight for the show. Love that.
And the cops
then also
were called.
Yeah.
The cops were called. They worked the town.
Mm-hmm. That was a great show.
Great.
Yeah.
So
Mance
great.
Warner versus Nick Gage.
Mm-hmm.
They stapled Mance Warner's
I think that's what
tongue.
got called. I think that's what got the cops called. Also in June, this is fun. Joey Janela trolled anti-mask activists and WWE referee Drake Wirtz at a school board meeting in Florida. He dressed up like one of them and like was speaking and did all that. You remember this news story? That was when he got the picture with Drake Wirtz.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he was great.
Joey Janela's cool points.
I love
skyrocketed with me then, man.
By the way, a quick side note about Joey Janela. If you haven't, watch AEW Dark, the street fight between him and Sonny Kiss.
Yeah. I watched
Fantastic.
it. Oh, yeah. I watched Elevation and Dark this week. And
yeah.
God, you're so right. They're so much more fun than Raw. Even as a passive view. Like, you recognize it's a passive view and you're not, like, super intent on it. But it's still better than Raw.
Way better.
Way
August, by the way, August 13th, 2021 was when Rampage started.
Right, I'm going to add that in here. Rampage. Also in June, a fun story showed up when Virgil charged Brooke Hogan $20 for a picture and an autograph signing.
Good.
Virgil's cool points.
Yeah, Virgil's great. Yeah.
June 2021, Andrade El Idolo signed and debuted with All Elite Wrestling. That one was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, well, because I think he didn't get the can't compete clause. It was just I'm out, get me out. Okay,
right.
Fine. There you go.
And then also in June, Lio Rush retired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then July comes around. A little bit somber note. The Patriot Del Wilkes passed away.
Oh, yeah. Man, that was weird. That was a hard one.
It was a hard one. And he was a standout character for being only there for a short period of time in pro wrestling.
Oh, yeah. That switch over between, the new generation to the Attitude Era, like that 1 to 2 year period, like that was him. Right? That was when it was Stone Cold, him, LOD, Ken Shamrock taking on the Hart Foundation in Canada. Like, he was in that little mix. And then as soon as it takes off, the Attitude Era is there. I don't know what happened. I don't fact check, but then he was gone. You know what I mean? As soon as DX took over with X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that character was passe and he was out.
Yeah, he was gone.
He was gone. I don't know what happened there. Malachi Black debuted in AEW. That was another quick turnaround one.
Yeah, because he again didn't have a can't compete clause.
Right. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff passed away in July. Man.
Yeah, I do remember that now.
And that one was from my childhood, right? Like I was young kid Hogan, we're talking like kindergarten age Hogan fan. And the Mr. Wonderful feud there was big.
Yeah, that heel turn when he turned on Hogan. Yeah, that was huge.
WWE in July resumed employee promotions and pay raises. That's nice of them.
Well, if you stayed, if you kept a job.
Matt Cardona defeated Nick Gage for the GCW title in July.
Again, we've got best moment of the year, and in consideration, fun fact, it wasn't that, but in consideration was that match.
Huge
that
moment.
was also my consideration for match of the year. So much fun.
And stemming from that and that publication, that publicized event, Nick Gage then wrestled in AEW, leading to the Domino's pizza cutter incident.
The best. And then Domino's. And then Domino's was like, we're going to pull our advertising. And remember, we had little groundswell of community from the IWC where it was
Domino's.
Fuck Domino's. Yeah.
John Moxley publicly said they need to chill. Yeah. Domino's chill.
And guess who came out of that as a new sponsor in the wrestling community? PBR. Remember, PBR was like, hey.
That's right.
Hang out with us. And PBR made a little pizza cutter and stuff. Yeah, so that was a great moment. I love that moment.
I loved it. And in July, big news, WWE released Bray Wyatt. That was a bit of a shocker. I mean, he had been gone. Clearly something was up. I think everybody was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then he was gone. It was official. And then there's been a lot of back and forth on, he said, she said since then. And nothing much else but that.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a 2022 story. I don't think he's done with wrestling, but where he goes,
he's working on like a movie right now. I think they said. Yeah.
So we shall see. We'll be talking about him next year for sure.
Well, then, also in July, WWE officially. Oh no, excuse me. This is August now. This is August. Rampage debuted. We discussed that. Which is. I love Rampage. Let's hit on that for a second. I like this 1 hour show on Friday nights, little extra storylines. They make it a different show.
Yeah, I love it. Being a old 36-year-old, I wish it was on earlier, just being honest with you. Like at 6 o'clock, it would be great before Smackdown. Again, one true time zone, Central Time here. It would be great. But late, I do. Yeah. I love it. I just, boom, it goes by. It's quick. The debut episode was when Christian Cage defeated Kenny Omega for the Impact Championship. That's what led into their feud at All Out.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Loved it.
Also in August, WWE officially released Ric Flair, Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, Leon Rush, and Mercedes Martinez.
Mercedes Martinez we'll talk about here in just a moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Bronson Reed was interesting because they said even they're like, well, we're going to move to this new NXT and we're going to have bigger, bigger meathead guys. And it was like, well, what the fuck did you get rid of that guy then? He was great. You just made him champ. You were going to, like, it was so weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to book NXT 2.0, which is actually 3.0, which is actually really probably 4.0, like the two pillars, again, if you want to steal from AEW, the two pillars that I would use would be Rex Steiner and Bronson Reed. Like two meaty men slapping meat right there, right? Like that's a feud you could do for years. But whatever. They're lost.
They don't want it. They don't want it. Also in August, AEW's Max Caster was suspended after he referenced Simone Biles' mental health issues and the Duke Lacrosse rape scandal in one of his televised raps.
On Julia Hart.
Mm-hmm.
And then Julia Hart got the sprayed in the face by Malachi Black later in the year. And Max Caster was like, oh, you can do that to her, but you can't talk to her.
And so the Max Caster one, there's a lot of heat against this term cancel culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think this is bad, right? Max Caster did something where we were like, ooh, hey, man, maybe you don't get something. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Let's show you some information. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not say these kind of things moving forward, right? Now you get out there. Because it didn't seem like he did something malicious, right? He wasn't doing something.
No.
It was just kind of one of those like, oh, hey, man, do you realize what you fucking said? Like,
right. Yeah, we've done that plenty of times on this podcast.
Which I don't think is wrong. So when people say, like, we're developed, fuck cancel culture, I'm like, hey, look, if we're fostering a culture that doesn't allow people to just be open dickheads to people because they're just allowed to say whatever they want, like, sign me up. I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, again, we can get into a bigger conversation about that because I don't think cancel culture exists. All you have to do is just be quiet for a week.
Louis C.K. is fucking putting out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're just quiet, the news cycle is so rapid that we'll forget about it in a month.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Beautiful Bobby Eaton passed away in August.
Underrated. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
Yep.
CM Punk made his long-awaited return to pro wrestling. He showed up on AEW Dynamite. We all know the rest of the story. CM Punk.
What a moment, though. What a moment. I rewatched
one of the biggest
that.
moments in wrestling in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, again, we have best moment of the year, and that was in consideration. It wasn't mine. Spoiler. But I rewatched it just to consider. I mean, I still get chills. I even know what happened. I even know what happened right now. And I still watch that. And you just see just the groundswell of support for their own guy. Again, I don't think if you did that in Indianapolis, it would have been a huge cheer, but it wouldn't have been the same. That was just the perfect storm of debuting, coming back, time period, everything. Yeah, it was incredible moment.
It was a huge moment.
I think it's the moment of the year. I honestly, not my personal best moment, but if you were to put a time capsule in 2021, like that's the moment, I think.
Deafening pop that just destroyed all other audio and got louder and rose. Like I'd never heard that. I never heard that, and I've been watching wrestling a long time. And
to see just such a disgruntled, grumpy man almost to tears because of the reaction he got. I'm talking about CM Punk here, was just incredible. Again, I think that's the best moment of the year.
Yeah. Oh, it's a moment that'll live in
or iconic, most iconic.
I mean, it might be you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, this 2020s. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar made surprise returns at WWE SummerSlam.
Hey, look, I like Big Time Bex. I think her character right now is fun. It's good. I still don't think we want to boo her. But she's doing really well. Brock Lesnar, to his credit, this little angry farmer gimmick that he's doing is fun. But the way they came back,
yeah.
I mean, John Cena came back too, and we didn't care. Remember that?
Well, I remember at the time, these were big things that they were trying to compare to the return of CM Punk. And to me, I was just like, how can you even...
It was rushed and no story, and who cares?
First of all, neither of them had been gone more than a year plus, right? And we're talking about a 7-year return.
Yeah.
And both of them were no-brainers to go back to WWE. It wasn't like...
Yeah.
They were going to the new start. You guys are weird.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are
Yeah,
fucking
very
weird.
weird.
You guys are weird. All right. Also, and then we move into September, right? We're turning it. We're well past into this back half of the year now. September 2021. WCW TNA star Daphne passed away. Kind of a televised suicide event. Not really. I mean, like she did a call for help on a live stream, and then help did not arrive in time. You know.
Yeah, that was tough. That was hard to watch and to be a part of, which is sounds weird to say, but
and we'll say this later in the news too with somebody else, but like, if you need help, please get it and get it immediately. And
1,000,000%. That was tough. I didn't like. That was a bad day. Bad day as a wrestling fan.
And then also in September, better times ahead. Ruby Soho, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole debuted in AEW
at the same event.
Right.
At the same event.
Damn time.
Crazy.
Yeah. Also, CM Punk made his in-ring return at All Out, 7 years away from the ring.
And he went at it with Darby Allin.
Good choice. I didn't hate that.
Yeah, very good choice.
Also in September, not a great choice, NXT 2.0 debuted.
I gave it 3 weeks, just like their pushes, and I'm out. I haven't watched it since.
Yeah, and around the same time, I think the news kind of broke later, so who knows when this happened, but Triple H, it was reported that he was having heart issues, almost like sounds like he had a serious heart attack, it sounds like.
I mean, now I'll make a lighthearted joke because now it seems like he's okay and on the other side of this, but it seems like maybe that heart issue was a broken heart for what Vince was doing to NXT 2.0.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
It's been bad.
It's horrible.
And then WWE announced they signed Gable Steveson, Olympic gold medalist.
Hey, that motherfucker is badass. You want to see a great video? Go YouTube Brock Lesnar wrestles Gable Steveson at the University of Minnesota. Those motherfuckers go at it. Gable Steveson is out of this world as a wrestler, but I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
Don't give a shit.
It's going to be bad.
Also, it's going to be terrible. Also, in September, AEW officially announced they would be moving Dynamite from TNT to TBS starting fucking this week.
Next week? Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Excited for that. And that's going to bring some extra eyeballs, I think. TBS is a much more watched station.
So I don't know those numbers, like as far as what's available more. I just know that
I think it's free on like every fucking thing. I think everybody gets TBS. I think you just
I hope so.
You don't have to ask for it. I think they're like, you fucking take this.
I just know that TNT has so much basketball, and when basketball runs on a Wednesday and a Friday or a Saturday, you know what I mean? Like they were going to get bumped continuously for the lifetime that they were on that channel.
Yeah.
So I'm more happy that they're on TBS just because you don't have the competition of NHL and NBA and whatever other, sporting event TNT gets or Turner gets.
Right.
Yeah.
Also in September, Lio Rush unretired and re-signed with AEW.
Hey, look at him. There you go.
Running around we go. Tommy Dreamer was suspended from several gigs after insensitive remarks he made on an episode of Vice's Dark Side of the Ring about accusations made against Ric Flair.
How the hell did that happen? Isn't that the weirdest news story of the year?
It's like Tommy Dreamer, did you get to watch this before they released it? Did you?
Oh, I know that, but for the one person to take the fall was Tommy Dreamer when Ric Flair did it all.
Stupid shit.
I know,
Ric Flair did it, but he's like, fuck you, I don't care. But Tommy Dreamer's trying to be like, listen, it's okay.
That's true.
They're like,
That's
no,
true.
It's not okay. It wasn't just a joke, Tommy. We're trying to get that through Rick's head. Now you're over here helping Rick, jackass.
Yeah. But Ric Flair is still just chugging along, right?
Same thing with cancel culture, right? Tommy Dreamer's back on Busted Open Radio.
Yeah. He's fine.
Because again, it seemed like Tommy Dreamer just fucking. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to say this about him totally in life, but Tommy Dreamer was dumb and didn't understand what he was fucking saying and didn't understand the depths of the concept of what he was talking about.
Definitely. I agree.
Yep.
100%.
October rolls around. AEW announced the creation of the TBS Championship, a secondary title for the women's division that may or may not say hose on it. may or may not say hoe.
You got to look at it at a certain angle. Yeah, and you can see it. That's for sure.
Interesting, though. We're still waiting for this to be a thing, but we're about to get it.
2022, we're going to get our first champion. It's either going to be, spoiler.
It's going to be Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill or Ruby Soho.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think so? You think they go 2 heel champions for the women? Yeah. You got Britt Baker and you got Jade Cargill.
So the only thing I see is like Ruby Soho somehow gets one of those like, aha, I pulled a cheating move to get a win on you. And then Jade Cargill gets pissed and she like just fucking casts aside Mark Sterling. But I think that would be a mistake. So I don't see that happening. You know what I mean? Like,
I think, again, if you only look at the TBS tournament and TBS championship by itself, Jade Cargill 100% should win the tournament. But then when you look at the bigger picture and you say, so our women's champion is a heel and then our secondary champion is basically the same kind of character, a little bit more badass, but like the same heel. Like the baby faces just suck.
I don't know how you're going to get Ruby Soho over Jade Cargill without having to redo it, and then find a way to get her over again. You know,
We'll see.
I don't know.
Hey, look,
I don't think Ruby Soho's lighting the world on fire that makes them think like we got to get this title to Ruby Soho.
I mean, I don't think she's bad. No. I don't think she's, like you said, lighting the world on fire. I will say this. Hey, AEW has yet to really throw a real huge stinker as far as story goes. So I trust what they're going to do next week.
Yeah. All right. Bobby Fish debuted in AEW in October.
Yeah, but I think
the Fish guy.
But we can get to the bigger story in December, and it's Yeah.
Also in October, this one's fun. WWE released ring announcer Greg Hamilton after he publicly shamed and attempted to extort rapper Westside Gunn for using his voice in a rap song.
Hey, shout out to Westside Gunn, huge pro wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I became more familiar with them after this news story. Friend of mine actually makes music for Westside Gunn.
He should be on our show.
Yeah, Conductor Williams, check his music out. He is the guy that makes a lot of the beats for Westside Gunn. Westside Gunn, typically you can find him front row at any AEW or WWE show. Good friends with Big E as well.
Yeah. And all of those people should be on the show. Big E was on the show.
He's
a friend of the show. Go
Thanks
back in the archives and listen to that.
Yeah.
Also in October, ROH released all of their contracted talent and announced they would be going on hiatus and would return with a new business model.
What? Yeah. That's, again, a 2022. I mean, it's a 2021 story because that's unprecedented. I've never heard of that in my lifetime.
Exactly. Unprecedented. And it's a shame we know some folks there in ROH that are friends of the show.
Yeah, Dak Draper.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm very curious for the first quarter of 2022 what that even looks like, how that is formatted, the whole thing. I'm very interested.
Very interesting. Then we roll into November, right? And Jon Moxley announced he would be immediately entering an inpatient alcohol rehabilitation treatment program and urged anyone struggling with anything to seek help immediately.
Side note, that was when AEW was in Kansas City. I went to that show the day he was supposed to be there.
10 minutes from my house. I really was heavily considering. You got the book?
I got the book right here. Look at this. Got it as a Christmas gift. Read the first 50 pages today. Definitely recommend it. It's a very good read so far. And also remember, this just shows you the depth of the AEW roster. It was going to be Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley to then go to the finals with who would be facing Bryan Danielson. But because their roster is so deep, Miro fills in, beats Orange Cassidy, but then loses to Bryan Danielson and now is feuding with God.
Yeah.
One of the best feuds of all time.
God. And we haven't seen Miro in a little bit.
He's done promos, right? But he's done some promos out in this white void. But yeah, I tell you what,
it's so good.
Very good. Miro again. We have male wrestler of the year. He was in my consideration there for he was outstanding this year.
Yeah. All right. Also in November, WWE in a first wave released Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Nia Jax, B-Fab, Eva Marie, Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado, Harry Smith, again, Scarlett Bordeaux, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, Ember Moon, and more.
I mean, come on.
The Keith Lee, the Karrion Kross surprises. Nia Jax surprised us a little bit even. Eva Marie really surprises because they just brought her back a few months earlier to a lot of fucking...
Yeah, but she fucking sucks. I think the one that really was a kick in the dick, and we'll get to probably the other members of it, but Hit Row. They got 1 month and then just told to hit the bricks.
Yeah, because that comes later too even. But in the second wave, not even that one, Drake Maverick, the Hit Row, sorry, that was it. And then John Morrison, Tegan Knox, and others. John Morrison was a surprise. I was like, really? You guys are... You're doing one of the few fun things you're doing. You got rid of him.
It's just. But again, I think John Morrison is a thing where the powers that be, maybe Nick Khan or whoever it is saying like he's on the other side of 30. Do we see a future in him? No. And I can almost understand that. Again, if you're in this
probably
whole
like another thing where like, well, he came out like we can't own the full rights to that shit because he's too contract savvy and fucking.
Yeah, but like Hit Row. We're all young talents that has not been overexposed, hasn't even been exposed to the masses.
Entirely different than everybody else.
Yeah, that was the stupidest.
We catch a whole other demo that you probably don't normally seem to adhere to, cater to. Jackasses. Randy Orton set a new WWE record for most pay-per-view appearances.
There you go, Randy. November. Good job. Yeah, way to have no other options. Way to go, bud.
WWE put on a month-long tribute to The Rock for his debut anniversary where he never appeared once for the company.
I mean,
the fucking best. Month long. They were like,
the best.
Fucking anniversary.
The best.
What a bunch of jackasses. And they bring out a gilded egg.
That someone stole, and then the person who stole it got a reward for getting a title match. Fucking stupid. And then now Vince just gargles through segments on Monday Night Raw. Great, guys. Way to go. Way to go with those fucking writing segments.
And then we rolled into December, right? The month we're in now here. Beth Phoenix announced she was leaving the NXT announce team.
She's coming back.
Yeah. NXT contracts for Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly expired, and Kyle O'Reilly has since debuted on AEW. Think Johnny
Red
Gargano
Wagon.
Red Wagon.
Yeah, Red Wagon's now in AEW.
I love Red Wagon.
Love him.
Red Wagon.
Red Wagon.
Red Wagon. Johnny Gargano, you think he's an AEW bound guy?
Yes. Here's the thing that this isn't a bold prediction. My bold prediction is more specific, but I will say another bold prediction off the cuff here before we get into our awards. I think this is going to be 2022, the year of transition for AEW. I think the Brian Cages, the Penelope Fords, all of those types of talents, I think that's when they're getting shuffled out, and then the ones getting shuffled in is going to be Johnny Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, Tegan Knox. Like, it's going to be this whole transition of the old guard and the new guard, AEW's in flux. That's what I think.
Also in December, ROH's Final Battle pay-per-view event happened in what is expected to be their final show until they return reformed, as they promise.
And Titan debuted, better known as Braun Strowman.
Yeah, with the Control Your Narrative group.
Yeah, with EC3 and then that other guy.
Some other folks, but yeah, it's all about like, fuck these companies. We make our narrative.
Cool, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
WWE announced that WWE announced their new college athlete name, image, and likeness program and announced a list of first class of athletes, including the previously signed Olympic medalist, Gail Steveson.
Hey.
Gonna take advantage of some young, dumb.
Well, and hey, the college athletes that are getting money from WWE, credit to you. Good job. Love it all. But as far as a wrestling fan, I couldn't give less of a care. I just whatever. This just seems like you're going to exploit some young, dumb souls.
That's it. Like, a lot of the reasons we love a lot of the guys on AEW is because they did forge their name as wrestlers on the independent scene and wrestling fans and know the art and love the craft. And like, sure, out of the 25 a year college athletes that you get, maybe 1 or 2 out of every 5 years are going to be like actual wrestling fans also, and they're going to care and they're going to catch the bug and they're going to have the charisma. But like, the rest of everything else is going to suck. It's going to feel forced, and it's not going to know, and you're going to ruin, like, your product's going to be unrecognizable to what actual professional wrestling fans are.
It's going to be Von Wagner's. It's just going to be a whole roster of vanilla Von Wagner's.
Yeah. So when they don't understand why, like, their numbers are dwindling, it's because, like, you don't
care. The effort's not there
to people with what the core of the feelings and the emotions in this are, because those people they don't have it.
That's true.
AEW star in December. AEW star Jack Evans claimed Mexican police are framing him for drug crimes and attempting to extort him.
See, that's another guy. Like, if you're doing the, hey, Mexican police are holding me down, they ain't got time for that. That's when Johnny Gargano takes your spot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's when.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, Jack.
Yeah, sorry, bud. See ya. We got Johnny in now.
Blackjack Lanza passed away in December.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So did Jimmy Rave passed away.
That one was a little bit more tragic because of how young he was and the surgery complications.
A developing story over the time, and he had struggles, and it was rough. WWE released Jeff Hardy following an event at a house show where Hardy appeared disoriented and just left ringside mid-match.
Still the weirdest story. Like, I know we've had some weird stories, but that one, because now he just seems like, hey guys, what's up? Everything cool? Like, I think we're going to get more to that story maybe in 2022. That just seems some odd stuff all around. Right?
Seems like they were just like, no, never mind. He's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens re-signed a multi-year deal with WWE, which I was kind of shocked by. Albeit, I know he's got a young family and they bring some money and
all
stability.
The stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and again, right? Credit to him. It's probably a lot of money that he got, more than what he was going to get.
Got a promise of some title runs too, like
all the fun stuff. Yeah, but for me as a wrestling fan, sucks.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. Honestly, I was kind of like, oh,
yeah,
here we go.
Sucks.
All right. Also, then the last story. This is developing now. Toni Storm appears to have just walked the fuck out of WWE.
Credit to her. Look, if you're frustrated, you don't like what you're doing, get out, right? Like, you're too young.
Rob Schamberger, friend of the show, famously tells about how he just fucking up and walked out of a job and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And then he was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And he was like, all right, Kickstarter, let's paint some wrestlers. And the rest is history.
There you go.
Now, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to get Rob Schamberger's results if you don't put in time, effort, and have a talent and a skill, but, you know, you don't have to stick around doing something you don't like doing. You can take that.
That's the thing. Yeah, you can take back your happiness by choosing to do something you really want to do. So, credit to Toni Storm for doing that. Yeah. I applaud her for. She's talented. Look, and as you see on social media, you got Britt Baker tweeting out pictures of her. Becky Lynch saying that she wishes she could wrestle Toni Storm. Other female wrestlers are applauding her for her decision. So yeah, credit to her. Ready and excited to see what's next for her.
And that's it. That was the 2021 news year in review. Pro wrestling. God, what a crazy year. The wrestling industry is changing.
The wrestling industry is changing, and I think, again, as I said, not a huge, bold prediction, but 2022, I think the major change is going to come from AEW because of this huge influx of talent and probably exposure. I think they're, again, COVID is getting to a point where now we're almost getting back to normal. Not right now, but again, future casting, right? Hopefully. And I think AEW is going to benefit so much from that. So very excited to see what happens for them.